Good evening, everybody. It's Saturday night, my friends, and I'm back, and I'm actually doing what I should be doing. And I'm writing some code here, or at least I'm going to try to write some code tonight, my friends. But welcome on, everybody. Welcome. I hope everyone is doing well. We're all healthy and happy and all those things. Kicking butt, taking names, getting things done, and enjoying life along the way. Oh, it's a cold day here, friends. Cold, snowy day. It's gonna be a snowy weekend because it's gonna snow some more tomorrow, and then next weekend it's gonna snow some more. We've had one of these years before where it was like every weekend it snowed, but during the week it was sunny, and so everything would would snow a little bit, like 2 inches, and then it would melt, and then the next weekend it would snow again for 2 inches and then melt. It's just like we're back into that. that happened like years ago, and now it seems like it's back again. It's a thing, friends. It's a thing. But welcome on in, everybody. Welcome. So I have worked a little bit, mostly last week, off camera on the SSAO stuff that I was working on. And man, I'm still like very, very, in the dark, as far as like I get the basic concept. I just don't quite understand the coding. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm sort of missing there, and it's comes out in evidence here, just by the hey, ZeroFX, welcome on in. Happy Saturday to you as well. It just comes through in like I've got a lot of stuff sort of transcribed over from the C example, but like there's a lot of stuff getting set up here that, I don't know how much of it I already have in place, how much of it more I need to do. This doesn't necessarily align with like the buffer direct addressing that we were doing. So it's kind of like there's a lot here. What's really throwing me is like trying to get all these like subpasses and stuff, which I'm not really set up for. And I've kind of just copied over and Java-ified the example, until I can just kind of get something that sort of works. And then I can like look at this again and do another pass over this and try to make it not so crazy, potentially. But it's been just a kind of a lot of that. And the problem really is that the problem is really that I don't understand enough of what this is doing to really be able to link it together yet in my brain. And it doesn't help that they like the way that they do their examples here are mostly, but not always, sort of standalone, which on the one hand is good, but on the other hand is not so good, because there's a lot of stuff here that I may not have to do, because I already have in place, but I'm not entirely sure. For instance, they set up their pools, right? Which to me seems like you should already have mechanisms in place to set up the pool, so why they're doing it again, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of stuff like that where I'm just like, okay, I get that you need like descriptor pools and stuff set up, but like it feels like some of this might be standard code that I already have that I could just call, because I have a lot of descriptor pool related stuff, and so I'm trying to translate some of this stuff over to what I already have and all that stuff, and it's been a real pain in the neck, and I don't feel like I'm any closer to, you know, any closer to this being done as far as like the ambient occlusion rendering and stuff. And not only that, but it's been a couple days since I've looked at it, so I'm now completely unfamiliar with the stuff I just did. I have to come back up to speed with it. I did leave myself some notes, but it's, I don't know, this is pretty daunting. I feel like, because there's, like I said, there's additional setups in here that I think I need, especially for the sub render passes and stuff, that I kind of need to look at a little bit more. So I don't know. I think what I'm going to do here for tonight is I think I'm going to put, this is all on a branch. So I'm just going to, I think we're all committed here. Yeah. It's all committed. Excuse me. It's all committed. So I think I'm going to put that to the side for tonight. And I think we're going to pick up the cube map example, because the cube map, it looks, just looking at the example, looks like it's a little bit more straightforward, as much as anything in Vulkan is straightforward, which is not a lot. And it's something we have to do anyway, because I wanted to get a, basically the cube map stuff is for skybox stuff. So I would like to have the skybox rendered in our scene. So it feels like I got most of this probably already together in some form or another. So I think what we're going to do is jump over and do that and see if I can make some progress there and maybe get something visible on the screen. So I'm going to go to check out main here. I think we gotta get the latest down. What are you doing here? No, stop that. I want to update. There you go. Alright, so we're updated to the latest here. So let's go make a new branch. This one will be skybox. Okay, so that's something. So we'll look at this right now, starting from a fresh, you know, from a working area. I think what I want to do is, so I'm going to do a new package. All right, and thinking we want to copy over is it? Not the GUI. Swap chain. What do I copy over? Really, it's a scene renderer, right? Yeah, I think we'll start from the scene renderer. Kind of the starting point. Call it Skybox renderer. All right. Have to see where to go from there. Also, trying out another beer from the variety pack I was gifted. This one's called Shore Trip. So let's see what this is like. I haven't tried it yet. But let's see. Here's what it looks like. See if I can get a better angle on it there. Let's see what happens. It's not bad. At least at first. Yeah, that's not bad. Not bad at all. Alright, we got two decent ones. It's good. So far. Let's see. Uniform data. Wait, if that's the projection, model view, inverse model view. This is camera setup. Destructor things. Sampler anisotropy. I'm pretty sure we have that on. Yeah, we have it set to true, so that should be on. Load a cube map from a file. So base width, base height. Okay, so we're loading the texture in. Wasn't there a um, maybe this is closer to the GUI, right? Maybe. Let me think here. No, maybe not. I'll keep that open just in case, but need to, well, by the time I get to the renderer, the texture will be in there, right? So how do we retrieve the texture here? Because we have the texture sampler. GUI texture map. GUI texture map puts. GUI texture, load textures. Oh, cache get GUI textures. Alright, because those get put into a... So we have the Vulkan texture, get GUI texture, okay. And then GUI texture itself is... just a record, an ID. Okay, okay. So it seems like I would need something like that for the texture data. What do I have here? ID, texture path. I don't understand what this ID is being generated for. We don't ever refer to it, do we? I mean, there's one usage, but that's it. What is... I guess the ID, well, the ID is probably used by... probably used by the shaders, I imagine. Vulkan engine texture cache. Here it is there, texture.id. It's being used as the key into this map for whatever reason. Chord GUI rendering. We have texture map here. So what does that do? Get command list, command buffer, texture ID. Oh, okay. I think that ID is just for the GUI library. So it knows what to do. Okay. I think that's what's happening there. Alright. But I just need, I don't need a whole map. I just need the one texture, right? So I could probably just do the Vulkan texture thing, but let me see. Vulkan texture. See, it's GUI textures inside here, which is interesting. It's probably just for ease of getting at it. Most likely. Because we got the record copy buffers and all this stuff in here. Image transition. So the question is, do I need another? I feel like all I would need is just to be identified by an ID, right? I feel like that would be the case. Gummy texture. Yeah, I feel like that's all I would need. Although I need to refer to it, right? I mean, well, it does have, I think it has a different flag though. Which is the tricky part. Oh man, this is the problem. I don't know where to start. This is, it's like, on the one hand, if I want to get something together, I should just follow this. But on the other hand, I know I have a lot of stuff here already. So I'm not sure what I already have here versus what I need. It seems to me like most of this stuff is... This is all like loading it into memory and stuff, which I've got. I definitely have all this crap. Copying command buffers and all that stuff. And the sampler stuff. All right. This is the frustrating part, is I don't understand enough of it. Third-party stuff in existing projects is always fun. Yeah, it's the big problem is that I still don't understand enough of the fundamentals here to be able to translate this snippet, basically, this example, into something that I already have functional and working. And it doesn't help that there's so many moving pieces when it comes to Vulkan stuff. Like, I was looking at like doing this stuff in OpenGL, and the code for it not only is much shorter, but is actually easier to understand. And it feels like whoever designed the Vulkan library just did not understand how to make an API that was understandable. It was like a I don't know. It strikes me as a job security project. Like, someone's like, how can I make a an interface to 3D cards and still secure my job for the future. I know. Let's have the Russian nesting doll structures. Pointers to other structures that have pointers to other structures. Now let's chain them all together, and then we'll call it genius and brilliant when it's just a freaking nightmare to deal with. Let me look at how I use this. So like I have a texture cache. Always far more complexity OpenGL. Yeah, it does. Maybe better to do a child branch that only uses the Vulkan stuff so you can get a grasp of the usage case. But I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. You know what I mean? Like it's like what I have here is a child branch that is just pretty much bare metal, right? And the bare metal is thousands of lines of code. You know, like how do you make thousands of lines of code make sense? You know what I mean? That's the difficulty right now. I mean, I guess I could. I mean, I could have like GitHub Copilot explain my code to me. Like just generate like a README that kind of explains everything. I mean, that would be an interesting thing here to see if it can tell me what I've done. Because it's, I mean, I know, yeah. I don't know. We're still learning what you can and can't get away with using the Vulkan framework. Yeah, it's just from going through the book chapters, I can tell you that it's just doesn't, like if you have just one little thing off, like nothing works. And that's kind of the problem. It's like the complexity also introduces a ton of fragility, right? You do one little thing that it doesn't like and like it won't even start, you know. It's just like it feels like it doesn't feel well put together. Like it feels like it's just very fragile. As soon as you do one little thing wrong, everything's broken. And it just kind of, it's a little bit annoying from that perspective. Let's see what happens here. Let's try a little experiment. Can you inline generate a markdown readme file that explains the various classes in my project and their overall purpose. Also attempt to show to explain the flow of execution through a code base. I don't know. Well, this is probably going to be hilariously terrible. That's why you never got into GameDev. Yeah, I mean, it's something I'm trying. I kind of wondering if I should punt on the Vulkan stuff and just go back and do OpenGL stuff because it's a lot faster. But at the same time, you know, still gonna have a similar issue where there's a lot more examples out there of doing stuff in OpenGL that are actually, you know, readable, and it doesn't help me necessarily with with the with learning the Vulkan stuff either. So I don't know. There's not, like, there's some similarities, but there's not enough similarities between the two. Try idler game development. It's a bit simpler because you can write it in Node. Yeah, I mean, I am biting off the hardest thing I could do, right? Like, I could have just went into like libgdx, because there's Java stuff for that, and just did 2D stuff, which probably would have been simpler in a lot of ways, but at the same time, I don't know if it's, I don't know. I just, I'm just at the point where I don't, the light bulb hasn't gone off yet. I haven't had that light bulb moment yet. And that's kind of what I need right now. A good place to start. Yeah, sure. But I mean, it's not really, when you think about it, it's not really the flow, like the 2D stuff is good for understanding the basic flow of a game and timers and stuff like that. And I don't feel like that's a problem that I will have, because I know at least a little bit about how execution flows through a game, right? My real issue is I don't know how engine stuff works, like rendering and the rendering pipeline and things like that. And so that's kind of what I'm trying to learn more of. A 2D game in place, it can be converted to 3D in another framework, allowing you to learn as you go. Yes and no. The logic is probably largely transferable. But again, it's not the logic that I feel like I'm going to have a problem with. It's this more complicated math stuff, you know, the actual viewing of stuff on the screen. And that's why I'm trying to tackle the 3D stuff, because to me that's the one, I mean, this is the more frustrating part, but it's also the part that I really want to learn, compared to to everything else. Wow. Claude basically gave me the least amount of information it possibly could. It's like, great, thanks. Thanks, Claude, for doing absolutely fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's like sure, I'll give you absolutely no information that you don't already have. You knock out the easy portion in 2D though, which allows for drilling down just to 3D. If you can't get the 3D down, the logic you put in place isn't going to matter because you'll never see the result as you're testing. Yeah, I mean, sure. I still don't. I'm not convinced that there's enough overlap there. I mean, I get what you're saying, but I to an extent I agree, but it's I don't know. I feel like the overlap is not enough, right? Because sure, I can go through all the effort and work of doing a 2D thing, but personally like smashing your face against the wall. No, I mean, I don't like smashing my face against the wall either, but it's just like, it's the only way it's the only way I have any hope of learning it, right? Because it is what it is, right? It's not going to get, it's a giant mountain and it's not going to get any smaller if I just do something else and then try to come back to it, right? Setting aside of the fact that I don't know what I want to do, other than make a space game, right? Like, if I had this whole plan in my head of like what the game's going to be and what it's going to do and all that stuff, it'd be a different story then, right? Because then it'd be like, well, just get all the logic down and get all that working in 2D and get all this stuff. And honestly, that's not really... That's not necessarily my goal is not necessarily to actually finish a game. Which is weird to say. Like, I want to, but it's kind of a bonus. My real goal here is to have, like, an understanding of how this stuff works. Like, how an engine works. A 3D engine works. The game at the end of the line is sort of the icing on the cake at that point, I feel like. And honestly, once I get the basics of the engine kind of working, then it gets really interesting, because then it's just a lot of tooling and trying to, get all, like, be able to work in the engine and put scenes together and all that stuff. And I feel like, I mean, that's going to be probably the really fun part. This is just the kind of head bashing, head wall bashing part right now. And a lot of it's just due to the fact that I mean, this is how I struggle. All right, this is not new to me. It's just that it doesn't help too that, like, it's been a week or so since I've looked at the stuff, and it's hard. It's frustrating. It's probably frustrating to watch too, and I apologize. But it's like, you know, it's this is the this is the downfall of live streaming coding, is that it's a lot of just like, what the hell am I doing and why am I doing it? Yeah. And this is completely, utterly useless. It's not even worth prompting it for anything more. I feel like it's just garbage out from that thing. Well, let's see. So I wish they put more. Let me look at. There was another thing that kind of explained some of these Vulkan samples. Yeah, here's some like notes here. So this is the same sample. Someone went and put some notes together, which I think is fantastic. So load cube map. Like, this is what I need. I need some actual. Yeah, so I'm in load cube map. Unfortunately, the notes here are not very good either. It's just copy the code in. Process pretty much the same as other texture creation. However, there are two attributes needed to be specified for cube map image resources. Image create cube panel bits. BK image view type cube. Okay. Force linear tiling. I didn't see that in here. Huh. Interesting. Let's load cube map. Yep. File name, format, and force linear tiling. Huh. I wonder if that's a newer. I have the, or that's probably an older version of it, because I have the latest here. Okay. I need a good example. So add texture. Texture path, formats. Add texture returns me a Vulkan texture. Okay. So, where do I call this from? Vulkan material. So I could call, I mean, I can call add texture from the skybox. I mean, it's not the greatest place to call from. I mean, I'd want to load it from the scene. If I load it from the scene, then how do I, so it'll be in the texture cache. Okay. Well, it'll be in the texture cache with a particular ID, so I could probably always make the skybox like the same ID, and then I can find it again in the texture cache by that ID, I believe. All right. Get texture. By texture path? Well, I mean, that would work too. But I had another get texture in here. Oh, I have get position. Okay, well, I mean, if it's by texture path, that's not too bad. Where do I call this from? Oh, from the GUI. To get the cache texture out of there. Yeah. GUI texture path. I guess the easier way to do it would be to just just put a flag in there to say this is, because I look here for get GUI texture that's not null. So it might be just easier in Vulkan texture, just add a flag that says this is Skybox. I'm going to do that. Alright, this is probably, what are the usages? GUI render, Vulkan texture. Yeah, see, they just do, I don't even need to do that, do I? Because the GUI render creates a Vulkan texture right here with the oh, that's for fonts. Yeah, I mean, still I would want it to be in the loading, the scene loading, because the skybox could be different per scene, I would imagine. So I'm just gonna put, yeah, I'm gonna put this in here, yeah, because when we add texture, I get a Vulkan texture back. A reference back. I'm gonna put that in there, and I'm just gonna put a setter on it. Well, a setter and a getter. And then that way, when I add texture to the texture cache when we're loading, I'll just set the skybox flag to true. And then what we can do is the texture cache here, I can say public, I guess I'll just bring a list back. Just in case there's multiple. I don't know why I would have multiple, but list of Vulkan texture. Get skybox textures. Actually, I don't even map them. I just need to collect them. Or actually filter. And go. All right, let's do that. So then in Skybox Render, I just have to let's let me just comment those out for a second. So I need a, let's see, box texture. All right, and in here we'll say this dot skybox texture is I'm just going to assume 1 right now. I'm affording a list of them, but let's just deal with 1. Okay. So right. So that's assuming, we'll just assume right now I have the texture. What do they say here? This is mostly when creating it though, right? Two attributes. The flags image. Create info flags. So when I do add texture, and add GUI texture too there. I think I might have an add skybox texture because we'll probably need these additional flags set. So add texture, format GUI texture. Image source. Vulkan texture, okay. So what I need to know, so what did they say here? It was view type image view, cube map view type. So the image view, when we create that, image create info flags. Image create info flags. Okay, so let's track this down here. So first of all, let's look in here. So image source. So where do I build up the image source at? Load image. So add texture. Okay, so load image from graphics utils. Okay. Image source. HTTP image. Yeah, load. New image source. Okay, it's just a record. Alright, so I get the image source. I'll add texture. Okay. So when I do a new Vulkan texture here, what do we do? Take the image source, width and height in there. Image format goes into Vulkan image. So in here, don't use device anymore for image format, MIP levels, memory usage, layer counts. So this is the image crate info. That's what they're talking about, right? Image crate info, yes. So this has to take, the flags has to take that. So where are the flags at here? So the flags aren't set on image crate info. It looks like there's flags on the VMA allocation crate info, but that's something else. So I can add a flags parameter here. And I'll make an override so that I don't have to change everything else in the system. Although honestly, this here I'm not using device anymore, so I could stand to change out all the other instances. Wait, there's only 2 usages. Screw it. We'll just. That's it. Because device is saying it's not being used, which it's not anymore. Let me see, where is this at? Attachment and Vulkan texture. Alright, so I don't need device anymore. There. And we don't need pass device here anymore. So I can get rid of that. That's one less thing. Knocking up the works. Okay. So what I can say here is, so we got that. So I can say we got layer counts, image format. I'm going to add Oh, you know what? Yeah, let's do this. And we'll say, image flags. Go this. And I'll say, if image flags is greater than 0. Or I guess maybe we'll just do does not equal 0 just in case. Oh, what am I doing? Does not equal 0. Then info there we go. Okay. Okay, that's good. That so that'll set the image flags, and then what was the other one I said? View type. And that comes into VK image view create info. Okay. Image view create info. So where do I set that up? That is that question. So we get image source, Vulkan texture, so Vulkan image, and then image view data. Here we go. That's just the data that we're setting up. Vulkan image view. Image view create info. Here we go. And what was it called? View type. Data get view type. Okay, so we're already passing view type in. Which is good. So image data. Well, in theory, we're passing view type in, but practice, I don't see it here. Ah, I have it hard-coded to that, but you can set it, right? I have a setter on it. Set view type, yes. Okay. Is this the only place it says 10 usages? Okay. Where are we at? We're in Vulkan texture. Well, I could say if it's skybox, if skybox is true. crap. I would need to make that not just a setter then. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let's just do this. We'll do another override here. And we'll say... Well, this... wait, this only has two usages? Screw it. I can just fix those. Here, I'll just say, let's make both of these false. There we go. Cool, and then I can just say this dot skybox equals is skybox, and that means down here when I'm building up the image view data, I can say if skybox image data that sets view type, and they say it have to be VK image view type cube. Okay, VK13 VK image type cube. Okay. That's about everything then for that whole section, which is what I kind of figured. And then they're just into they're immediately into the shaders, which has me a little bit concerned because there's more to it than that. We've got two graphics pipelines. Do I guess I need that. Form buffers. So where did I set up the other pipeline for that? This is like copying texture data into staging buffering. I think I've got all that already. One thing, it's got array layers 6, and I don't know. That's on the image create info. We have layer count there. That's array layers, not... Is that the same thing? There's layer count used. Yeah, array layers, layer count, okay. So, that's 6 for that. we're only doing layer count of 1. So I gotta say, if it's a skybox, the layer count should be 6. Okay, so we'll just say, there we go. Okay, and I'm gonna assume everything else is fine there. I hope this will line up for all array layers. Oh, the optimal sub-resource range. I have no idea if this is going to be a thing. Set image layout. Image aspect color bits. MIP levels. CubeMap MIP levels is what? It'll tell me here. Number of levels from the texture. I think we're fine there. I mean, we'll find out one way or the other. Image staging. Image barrier. We need a sampler. Which I can do. I think the sampler is going to be separate from, is a separate thing from the rest of this. Yeah, because this already has like the create staging buffer and according to copy buffer and image barrier and all that stuff. So I think we're good on all of that, I think. What I need to do though is I need a add skybox texture. Right. Wait, this is private. Why is that private? Oh, okay. Oh, because this is the public one. Load image, texture path. Format. So I think I just have to kind of follow this same pattern because GUI texture is pretty much the same thing going. Right, so Just copy this. Add skybox texture. So we got GUI texture null and then true. Which doesn't work. What is this calling? Oh, well, this is private, so we can just do. Yeah, this is private. I'm just going to add it to here. I'm just going to say Boolean is skybox. There we go. We'll just fix these up to be what they need to be. And here it's just true. There we go. And it's otherwise pretty much the same, I would imagine. It's the same through and through. It's not actually adding it to the cache, though, is it? Oh, well, no, add texture is adding it to the cache, right? Yeah, it's, yeah, okay. Throw myself for a loop here. Alright, good. So we add skybox texture, fine. That's what we'll call when we load up, I believe. Because add texture is well, it's called from Vulkan material, but that's just because it's also called from in here. Oh, record. Oh, this is what I call record texture transitions and knit models. Yeah. Do I need one of those for I probably do, right? This is for editing the models. Yeah, because the GUI has its own record texture stuff. So wait, is this going through all of the textures? I think this is going through all the textures. So that's fine then. Yeah. This is going through every single texture in the cache. So when that's called, it'll get that already. So that's good. all I gotta do is make sure I get it loaded into the cache by calling add. Okay. Beyond that, okay, so then we have a sampler here. So we're assuming we have the texture. At this point, open texture sampler. Skybox sampler. What do we need here for this? Device address mode. Okay, so we just do device address mode is UV and W, right? Set all those. Yeah, we set all of those the same thing. That's what they're doing here. Okay, so the address mode is EK13. EK sampler address mode clamp to edge. And what else? Border color. Opaque white. EK13. EK. Border color float. Opaque white. Then MIP levels. Where does MIP levels go? Oh, max LOD is cube map MIP levels. Which, if I'm not mistaken, comes from that gets loaded from the image itself, I think. Somehow. I'm not sure how. Let me see usages here. Maybe I should just set it to 1. I mean, it's a skybox. Why would it have... I mean, I guess it could have multiple MIP levels, but it's a skybox. You're never getting. Yeah, why would it have anything other than one? Because you're never getting any closer. If I do it right, you're never getting any closer to the skybox. So there's no reason to have any additional level of detail on it, right? Because you're never getting any closer to it. It's always there. So I think that's probably I think that's probably what they want there. And then anisotropy, I guess true. If anisotropy and device is a sampler anisotropy, nice anisotropy. Okay, yeah. Well, let's put that on. Okay. I think that takes care of the texture sampler. Image view, create info. Yeah, this is what they were talking about before. See, they have a sub-resource range. Am I setting that in image view, create info? Yeah, sub-resource range, layer count. Okay. Image aspect, color, bits. Okay, I think, you know what, I'm just going to say we're okay there, probably. Okay. Alright, and then clean up the staging, resources, I think those are handled. Load assets. Okay. Oof. Load from file and all that stuff. Alright, load cube map. So the descriptors is what I want to look at now. Descriptor pool size. Descriptor pool info. Create descriptor pool. Alright, so what did we do in here for the descriptor pool? You know what, I should just descriptor allocator. I have a descriptor pool here. 6 usages. And we got the allocator, add descriptor set. This is in the render. Okay. Matrix to buffer. I think I need to do that. still have to create the descriptor set, right? Yeah, where do we actually create the descriptor set at? Oh, allocator add descriptor set. Yeah, okay. So what are we doing here? Descriptor set layouts. I gotta create the layout, right? Descriptor set layout. Here we go. Storage buffer. Okay, so what do they have here? A vertex and a fragment shader. Vertex uniform buffer. They have two. Yeah, they have two descriptor sets. One for the uniform buffer and one for the sampler. Right. Which I have an example of right here. Descriptor set layout for that. And then I've got storage buffer because we're using the storage buffer stuff, not the uniform buffers. But I can change that. We'll change that for this one just to uniform buffer, I think. View matrix buffers. Oh, you know what? Create host visible buffers. Usage uniform buffer bits. Nah, I'll stick to the example and then see if I can make it. Like, let's get the example working, I guess. I think that's the more important thing. Let's get the example working and then we can fix it up. Or play around with it at least once I have something here. Okay, so we have textured layouts. Call that skybox texture layout. Okay, and that's pretty much what they have here, right? Combine image sampler, shader stage, fragment bit, and then one. Oh, binding is one. Bind it to one. And do I really need it to be descriptor count is one. Yeah, I think I only need descriptor count of one here, not max textures, right? So I'm going to put that as one. There we go. That's what they have. 1U is because they don't supply it. Right, they got stage flags. They got type, they got stage flags, and they got binding, and then descriptor count is defaulted to 1. So, yeah, okay. So do that. And then, let me think. And I need the uniform buffer layout. So we'll do just put that here for now. Private final set layouts, skybox, uniform layouts. Skybox uniform layouts is new descriptor set layouts. New descriptor set layout info. And then this is uniform buffer. Type uniform buffer. And what's the next one? Binding is 0. What's the descriptor count? Descriptor count is 1, I guess. And then it's VK13, VK shader stage vertex bit board with VK shader stage fragment bits. That's the stage, right? Yeah, type and then stage flags and binding. Okay. So I have those layouts. Okay, descriptor image info. Wonder how that comes into play. I think all we do. Vulkan texture sampler descriptor image info. Because we do descriptor set layout, descriptor set layout. Projection matrix buffer. Vertex uniform. Yeah, I think that's okay. Descriptor set layout. We do have a create host visible buffers. Create host visible buffers. Which I probably need. Probably need, though I'm not sure. See, open utils, create host visible buffers. Descriptor set. Size, number, buffers, descriptor set layout. Descriptor set, add descriptor set. Device ID. I think that's actually creating the descriptor set underneath of it. Yeah. Because all we've done is create the layout, and now this is actually creating the descriptors. Descriptor sets. Buffers. This has how many? Uniform buffers size. Max concurrent frames is 2. Right, because that would be like, so that would be the size of the swap chain, which would be 2 frames. So you got the on screen and then the off screen. buffer, right? The double buffering. Huh. Okay. Oh, it even says there, sets per frame, just like the buffers themselves. Images do not need to be duplicated per frame. We reuse the same one for each frame. Yeah, because it's not changing. Right. Set layout 1. Key info, uniform buffers. Okay. But what's throwing me off here is it says images do not need to be duplicated per frame, which makes sense. But then they're still looping over to uniform buffers, which is what's strange to me. But I guess the uniform buffer has more than just the image in it. Texture descriptor. Image info. So create host visible buffers. Let me see a example of that. Uniform buffer, vertex, okay. I think it's basically just this. Yeah, because max in flight is, yeah. It's basically this. And then the combined image sampler. I'll have to create a buffer for that, I guess. I guess the my Vulkan texture sampler takes care of that. No. So how does this get into... How does this become visible? Maybe it's in the pipeline. Yeah, we just throw the texture layout into the pipeline. And it just figures it out. Okay. Okay, that's good enough for me. But I think I need to do this create host visible buffers here. That, and that would go against the skybox uniform layout. Right. And then the other sampler is already there. And then, yeah, they go into the pipelines. Why does it feel like... Did I not... I have the descriptor set... layout. It feels like I'm missing a step here. So I got the texture sampler. And the texture layout, but how do I then put the sampler into it? Descriptor set images array. Where is this? Oh, load materials. Okay. Yeah, here's where we're adding the descriptor set to the texture layout. Yeah, okay. I knew I was missing some step here. I was like, how is this supposed to work? But there's a buffer. Oh, that's fine. This is one of those situations where they do it twice, which is a little bit annoying. Image views. So this whole thing basically let's scene render over here. Let's put that in here for the moment. I don't need that. I just need the image view from... Am I setting images array? Set buffer, set image. think I just have to do a set image and not array. Right? Well, set images, array, image views. No, I think I just have to do set image. Maybe. Alright, so set image. That would be skybox texture. Get image view. This is skybox texture layouts. Skybox texture. Skybox sampler. Okay. And it's 1, not 0, right? Where did that descriptor set thing go to? I've already lost it here. I think that descriptor set. Yeah, what do I use this on? I don't use it on anything. It's just, it's part, I'm just using the reference. Okay. Yeah, alright. So it's just to have the reference there to be able to set the image on it. And the binding, I believe, is binding and then image info. Binding, I think, is 1 on this. Let's bind that to 1. Okay. They have a update descriptor sets. I don't know if I need to do that. I'm updating consumed things. I'm going to assume that I do that already. So let's save it at that. And then they go into the pipeline. Okay, so I have to do the create. Is it, I have to load up the shader modules too at some point here. Yeah, because that goes into the pipeline. Okay. So what does create pipeline look like? Pipeline build info. Normal positions. Primitive topology triangle lists. Assembly state, tip stencil state. Okay, I mean, all that goes into pipeline stuff. Pipeline build info. Shader stages. Shader module. Vertex input state, create info. Oh. Okay. For man, they just shoved all this crap into one little thing here, didn't they? This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is the epitome of what makes Vulkan terrible to work with. Is like every one of these structures has to be set and then all shoved into a bigger structure. And it's just like, I'd give my right arm just to have a freaking actual methods to call instead of just populating memory structures constantly. It's just, it gets so annoying after a while. It's like they don't even really, it's not even really an API. It's more like a memory layout than anything else. And the worst part is, it's like, I'll bet 90% of this stuff probably is using defaults. It's probably just the default state. Default state, you know? So you probably could default all of that in an API call and save everybody a ton of headaches. Let's see. How much is this multi-sample state? Like, I don't even input assembly state. Like, a lot of this would be in here, right? Or it should be. I would think pipeline shader stage, create info, shader stages, here we go. That's the shaders. How is there nothing? Am I just going crazy here? How is there not, like, they've got all this stuff here and I've got like almost nothing. Wait, something. Something's wrong here. Where are the references to these things? No, what? Oh, okay. It's a record. That's why. I'm looking at it like it's a record class. I'm like, no, something's not right here. It's not a record class. It's just a record holding all this stuff. Okay. That's what's going on. So it's really just in pipeline where all the nonsense is going on, right? Pipeline build info. So here is where we got like number of push constants. Okay, push constant range. See anything there? Scripter set layouts, pipeline layouts, create info. VK graphics pipeline, create info. VK pipeline. Oh no. So oh wait, this is Vulkan Core H. What? Okay. That's okay. So there's a graphics pipeline create info versus what we're using. I'm curious though, what is VK pipeline vertex input? I don't see any, like, I don't see pipeline layout create info there. That's interesting and weird. So I don't know how any of these things relate. Because my pipeline code is actually really... Let's create graphics pipeline info. Let's see what this is. Pipeline input assembly state create info. Here we go. Input assembly state create info. Okay, now it's... This is where everything is. Okay, so... Primitive topology triangle lists. Okay. So viewport state is 110. That's probably the same. Rasterization state. Polygon mode full. Fill. Call mode back bits. Oh, so they have call mode none, but they have call mode back bits. Front face counterclockwise, and we have front face clockwise. Okay. That's probably going to cause some problems. So do we have calling turned off entirely? Is that supposed to be off? Because I feel like that is a big problem if we don't have calling turned on. But because that's like maybe it's not what I think it is. Maybe it's not backface calling. But it certainly seems like it. Because this seems like backface calling is turned on here. VK call mode back bits. Bitmask controlling triangle calling. Yeah, shouldn't that be on? We've got counterclockwise as interpret polygon front-facing orientation. And what do they have here? It's just flags. So they don't have the depth clamp on. So I'm not sure if you have depth clamp enabled, if that means you turn off the culling. No. So far it looks the same. Multi-sample, create info, sample count, 1 bit, yeah. Depth stencil, compare op less or equal. So what do they have here? They've got depth test enable, depth right enable. I've got tested right enable to true, and then op less or equal. Okay. Keep that the way it is. Dynamic state, create info. They don't do anything there. Pipeline rendering, create info. Pipeline rendering, create info. Huh. Oh, here it is. VK graphics pipeline, create info. So stage info. Next is rendering info. They don't have a pnext on there, it looks like. So maybe that's why I have some differences here. Info. Create graphics pipeline. And then there's the shader stages. Depth test and write. So depth stencil state. They set to true. Enable test enable. Write enable and test enable. Yeah, so he does set them to true. Even though he said the false up there. Weird. And then call mode back bit. Sets. I still have call mode none. Enable depth test. That ticks me off. It's like initializes it to one thing and then re-enables them. And it's just, I hate that. It's a bad thing to do for when you're trying to give an example of how to do things here. Because that means that you just copy pasted this crap and then it's like, oh, I'll just add these down here. So really it's just, it looks to me like, I mean, I can just roll with the pipeline that I've got. Pipeline info. I just have to set up the, oh, excuse me. I just have to set it up here the way we have it set up here. I just don't know what the... Is the vertex push constant size going to be the same? I mean, I guess it's just the same thing here. See, I don't have... I don't have all these formats though, do I? Like, what does he put for... So it's color formats. Does he set up color formats here somewhere? There's pipeline. I see a color blend state, but and attachments. Component flags, color right mask, and then blend enable false. I don't know what to put in for color. Format here, because this is like, that's a 4x4 matrix, which is what's coming in here, right? I guess it's the same for all of those, because it's ultimately a cube. Right? I mean, well, I can just call this create pipeline and just get rid of these. Just put the texture, or just put the two layouts that we have. And then just see what happens. You do the shader modules. Push constants as well, we need, right? Where does the I don't, maybe, but the shader modules we do need, so I can do that at least. Let's put that up here. And then do this. That's the pipeline cache. And then this. Right. I just have to get. So the only thing is it's just the uniform layout and the texture layout, right? just those two. Leave the push constants the way they are. Let's just do the memory alloc for those. Where was that at? Push constants buffer. That was after shader modules. Keep that intact. We gotta do the shader modules though. Which is okay. So we have shaders and then skybox. I'll say skybox fragment shader skybox vertex shader, and then I need so they have a reflection pipeline. Okay. Yeah, they are creating two different pipelines. One for the cube itself, and then one for the background cube, and one for reflections. Which, I wonder if I even need, I mean, probably need it, but let's stick to the one pipeline right now. Because if I remember correctly, I think it said something in here like they have a flag to turn reflections on or off or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure what. I guess reflections would be for. I guess reflective surfaces would reflect the cube then, but without this, they won't reflect they won't reflect the skybox, I guess. But let's cross that bridge when we come to it. Because I mean, I could create a second pipeline, I guess. I just don't know how the two. You can't create graphics pipelines. Yeah. I mean, you know what? I guess might as well tackle it. Because I'm worried about, like, if I don't tackle it, will it, will it come back? think what I want to do as well is pass the, because it's going to have, does it have different, that's a good question, does it have different layouts? I don't think it does. No, they're both using the same pipeline CI. They should still both have the same layouts, right? Pipelines reflect. What is that? Pipelines reflect. Oh, that's what it's putting it into. Okay. I feel like, yeah. They both have the same. They both have the same exact configuration. So I guess I just call the same create pipeline, but create it for, so pipeline needs to change then. Change this to, wow. I guess no, I can leave it the same. Just say reflection pipeline. It's going to have a different set of shader modules for it. Just, oh, be hilarious. Reflection pipeline, create pipeline. Okay. I think what I need to do here is make this a little more generic. How do I want to do this? Oh, but I need to know if it's a vertex or a fragment shape. I need to know the different flags to use. Are these, Here's what we're gonna do. Shader info. String file. Ints flags. Alright, and do and then we'll say info for each. You know what? Screw it. Do a regular for each. All right. Here, and we'll say shader compiler, shader if needed, info file. Damn it. Meter flag flags. Okay, do that. And list shader module. Right list. And do modules, add new shader module. Device info open flags, and then info dot file SPV no. There you go. And then just return modules. For a second. Okay. So first things first. First things first, we grab. Oops. Grab these. And look at that. You know what? Just do private static final. Lists. Shader info. Skybox. Shaders. Equals list of new shader info. That. It's on a new line here. Okay. And this is a fragment shader, so we grab this, and then it's shader fragment bit. Fragment shader. And this guy. Okay. And then grab the vertex shader here. Do I have to put them in a particular order? I don't think it matters, but let me look here. The vertex and then the fragment shader, so I'll probably swap those around just for sake of argument. K13 VK shader stage vertex bit. Share stage vertex bit. Yep. Okay. All right, let's swap these around. That's okay. Get rid of those two things. And then we'll make another copy of this for reflection shaders. Reflection, vertex and fragment. Okay, so skybox. Shaders. This goes create shaders, skybox, shaders there, and then this is reflection shaders. That, and then we have one here for reflection shader modules. Go. Okay. So I've created two pipelines like they have. For better or for worse. We'll see how this works out. Is there any other notes there? Because they just jump right into like shader code, right? Okay. And then that's generally where we stop with the constructor usually. So we just get rid of all this, start to clean this a little bit. I don't think any of these are being called right now. I mean, they say they're being called, but I think they're... Oh, they're being called in resize. Which may not be necessary anymore. I'll leave them there until we get to that point. So get rid of this then. I have to init the rendering info. Only in the resize, huh? Is that the only place that would be called? It has to be done at first as well, right? Where's my... Yeah, no, that's resize. Yeah, and here we do the render info. Yeah, you have to initialize it first. Color attachments, depth attachments. Tonight. Yeah, here's our render path stuff. Right, so is there anything weird there? Wait, probably not. With clear buffers, frame buffers. Yeah, I'm just going to assume that that's normal stuff here. Although I don't have color and depth attachments. So what are they doing for color and depth attachments? Default clear color. They have a depth stencil. I bet they just have normal stuff that they set up. So I think this init depth attachments, init color attachments, like those just seem like they're needed. Like they are, like they're, yeah, they should be needed. One would think. So I'm going to do this. What about the material? Material attachments. Yeah, screw it. I'm just taking all of this. Whether we need it or not. I'm just going to put it back in here. As it was. And whether that's correct or not is another story. This is the command buffer. Okay. So we have the pipeline and we have the production pipeline. You got both of those. Can I actually use the view matrix buffers? I do, okay. So I should get rid of, or at least comment out fragment storage. Yeah, let's Let's comment these out. So I'll see them in error as we go here. Okay. Load materials, I don't think I need that. I mean, it sets up the... Well, okay, load sets up the... So maybe I should put that image view thing set up in here. Or at least put it... Yeah, so the load materials, where did I put that thing at? So this here, take that out of there. Put that into load. Just a set image array. Or set image at least. Right, so just get rid of that then. So I can get rid of this. Right, maybe. Build command buffer. Which is the one I was just looking at. Going through material attachments, get color attachments. I don't know if I need to do that. The bind descriptor sets. Draw indirect. I don't know. this is gonna even work. Projection matrix buffer. They don't have a this has the projection matrix, but not the I'm gonna do the view. This is probably gonna be wrong, but it's not the it's not because the it's not the view though. It's the they don't have a resize thing, do they? Just comment that out for now and see what happens. Probably not good things. Yeah, there's no chance in hell this is going to even probably work even a little bit, but let's let's roll that dice. What I need to do is go to I guess Vulkan. No, Vulkan renderer. I need to load the skybox texture. If skybox texture equal no, and skybox texture device texture path formats. What would the format be? Would it be the same format as that? texture. Format, go to Vulkan texture, image format. Image format, format, what does that say? There we go. VK format R8G8B8A. Okay. I got there eventually. Okay. VK13. VK format R8G8B88 norm. Okay. So I just have to, when I call init models here, I have to give it the file name. Which will be something. Static final string skybox texture file. Sounds textures. Let's go see. I think there's a site that I looked up that had some freebie skybox textures. You can try out that are in the right format. I'll just grab this one, I guess. 2048 by 2048. All right. Negative X, negative Y, negative Z, what? Distribution, yeah, okay. So there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I get it. That's why they said there were 6 layers, because there's actually 6 images. Yeah. Okay. For each texture for the keep. I thought it was just one. I thought it was one big file with all the images laid out a certain way. but it's actually 6 files. Okay. Okay. That's fine. Development. Hey, Justin, the voice actor, welcome on in. How are you doing? So where's my... What am I planning to do with JavaScript? I'm not doing anything with JavaScript. I'm writing Java code. And I'm just trying to learn how to make a 3D engine using the Vulkan SDK. At some point, I would like to make a space game with it, but right now I'm just super early on, just trying to get the very, very basics down. Like right now, I'm working on skybox textures and stuff, or making a skybox thing. Yeah. Yes, that's kind of what I'm working on. Slowly but surely. I'm still in a fog trying to figure it out. It's not immediately clicking. Why can't I find... Where's my... Am I going crazy here? Where's my folder with my stuff in it? Oh. You know what? We'll just do... Let's do that. Extract them there. Oh, well, thank you. It's going to be quite a long time before I have anything even approaching a game, but I will keep you in mind. What is... So, I have that... Development... Oh, I already... Oh, see, I downloaded... something already. Oh, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work at all. That is definitely not a thing. Okay. Oh, again, I ask, where's my stuff at? Oh, idea projects, here it is. Let's grab this. Everything in here. Let's see, I put it into another folder. Alright, let's grab this. Copy that folder. And I wonder if this will work. Those will be fun times if this works. Textures. paste. Hey, that worked. Good. Good. So that is Skybox. KOHAMA 3. That's the thing though. It's going to be all these files have to get loaded. So how do I... because I had to tell it to load all of these textures up. I mean, that's, yeah, okay. File 1. So, I mean, I did make it accept a list. So, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here. Why is that? I hate that. Everything's out of alignment for some reason. It's like when you paste onto there, it doesn't... Oh, it keeps... Oh, I hate that so much. Alright. Let me copy these without messing up. Why does it freaking do that? Hate that. That is some kind of bug in IntelliJ that just drives me nuts, where it won't you copy paste and it won't align it properly. Let me do it this way. Copy it like this. It still does it. That is frustrating as hell. All right, that's good. So got those. So then Y and then Z. And positive X. Y and Z. Okay. So this has to be a list. Skybox, textures. Just say, basically the same thing I have there. Skybox textures for each. Texture cache, add skybox texture, device. T13 VK format that. Need to add a little bit here. Wow, that's the problem. There needs to be a little bit of randomization there for the IDs, so we don't all have the same ID. Yeah, I guess I'll do the same thing we did with the GUI one and combine the ID and texture path. Yeah. Okay. Let me make a note for myself here. Alright, I'm just gonna make a note for that right now, because my brain is shutting down. Oh, it's like 1 a.m., so I guess it makes sense that my brain is shutting down. So let's go and commit what I've got, so it's up there. Initial stab at skybox rendering. Yeah, that's good. Push that out to GitHub there, to a branch. Alright. Should be good to go here. Yep. Alright, we had a recent push there. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there. I think we may be close to something. I just have to refactor it so that it handles multiple Skylock stuff, which shouldn't be that big a deal. Hopefully. I guess the rough part there is, how do I know what texture maps to what position on the model? I'm not sure how that goes. That might be a big problem. So yeah, I'm not sure how that's gonna work. I'm not sure at all. Oh well. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll be popping between that and the SSAO stuff probably off camera. Hopefully, I'll get a chance to do a little bit of both. We'll see. But yeah, that'll do it for me for tonight, my friends. I think I will. So tomorrow night we'll probably be playing a game. We'll see. It might. I will likely be doing more Postal Simulator or Parcel Simulator. I've done a little bit of that off camera today and unlocked some things, and it's just back to a little bit of a chaos mode on that. But there's a lot of automation now and stuff, and that's kind of the interesting part of the game to me, is like automating the process. So I'll be playing that tomorrow night, and then Monday I'll try to get back to, we have a bunch of RPGs in progress, so I'll either jump back into Octopath Traveler or I'll jump back into Dragon Quest II Remastered. So we'll see, whichever one it is. But anyway, my friends, that is it for me for tonight. If you happen to run across this on the YouTubes and you have a like and or a subscribe that you can spare or maybe toss my way, that would be great and awesome and terrific, and I appreciate it greatly. It helps out a lot. Otherwise, thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I hope everyone has an excellent morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on what it is for you. I hope to see you back here again in the future for some more stuff, whatever happens to suit your fancy. Until then, see you, bye.
Phrasing.